Welcome in to another season. We have Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series all heading to Daytona for the opening week of the 2024 season. We get you ready from a betting perspective, all the betting edges all year long, next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show 2024 Season 3. We got a lot to dive into tonight. The season's back. I'm getting ready here to watch some qualifying. Got the boys here with us tonight. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces. It's going to be a jam-packed episode. Want to hear from you, whether you're watching online, YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It helps our friends over at In Between Media. If you're on Twitter Spaces, hello, welcome for another season there. We want to hear you guys interact there, answer all your questions. We're going to have a lot of really good discussions. This is, a fun race to talk about. Is it a fun race to bet? We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. But for anybody that doesn't know, I'm Derek Yoder. I'm your host here to take you from February all the way through November as we navigate the NASCAR betting season. It's going to be fun, like I said. So let's just dive right into it. I want to introduce the panel for anybody that's new listening. A lot of new followers over the offseason. A lot of followers that even follow these guys on all their various social media accounts. So I want to welcome in full tank with Phil. Phil, how are you doing? Good to see you again, my friend.
I'm doing good, Derek. Happy to see you guys on the camera here. We're just about ready to fire off. So good off season, but definitely ready to get back at it. And, what better way than Daytona? It's just going to be a fun weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. No, Gregson's on the TV. Some people are saying he's a dark horse this weekend. Some people might have his number built into their chest. Don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe a little surprise. Mark, can we get a little surprise before you go to Daytona? Maybe a little sneak peek. I want to welcome you on next. Host of all your many shows and everything that you do. You do a lot, and I really appreciate you obviously coming on and being a part of the show. And the Laying Coin Pod, I think this is year 3 of that officially, maybe in August, year 2 of that, something like that around there. So how are you doing, Mark?
Year 2.5, season 3. We'll go with that. Yeah,
I like
doing good. We'll have to figure out the tease later. I don't know. We'll see what we're working with. See how we're feeling towards the end of the show. It feels how the the reception of the boys. But doing well. We're back in the swing of things. We're back now. Like I've done a couple shows before tonight, but now it feels like now we're back. Right, NASCAR's back in session. We're going to Daytona. We're competing with qualifying tonight. I really wish I could watch it. Don't have the setup that you have. Still haven't put together my man cave, but it's coming soon. The furniture is downstairs in boxes still, but we're feeling good, ready to throw some flyers. And Noah Gragson, baby, come on.
That stuff can stay in the box until Sunday anyways. Well, you're not even going to be there. So you can have that for Atlanta. So just keep it boxed up there for a little bit. I want to welcome on the additional panel guy that's going to be here all year long. Brian, we had you on the last couple seasons. I want to say 6 or 7 times as a guest. Now you're a permanent fixture this year. So welcome. Thanks for joining us all year long, putting up with us. Very curious to hear all the many insights that you're going to have. But for anybody that doesn't know Ryan, you can check him out at wintherace.info. Supplies in-depth analysis from whether you're looking for betting-related content, daily fantasy, whatever it is, everything in between. Ryan, how are you? Thanks for joining us, my friend.
Thanks. Can you hear me fine?
Can hear you fine. Yes.
I'm the noob that didn't bring my wireless headphones to the first recording, so just bear with me. I've got my phone jammed into my leg, so because I guess you can't turn the sound down when you guys are talking all the way. So I'm just jamming the headset into my leg, to the fat of my leg, so people can't hear the feedback in the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for.
Whatever
Thanks
you
for
did
the
there.
nice intro. Yeah, I'm glad that everyone can hear me, and this will be a fun show. It's a fun first 2 weeks for us to kick off because that's what these bets are. These bets are for fun. And once we hit Las Vegas, we can get down to the nitty-gritty and really try to make some money. But there's still some cool ways to bet this week, and some, the numbers are a little nicer because it is a super speedway, so you can find some things to work with.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, between all of us, we'll find some good perceived value out there. So let's do it.
Well, I like that. And I don't know what you changed from the first 3 seconds you were talking to the last 80 seconds. It sounded way worse the last 80, but that's okay. We're going to figure it out. But hey, it's the first show. It's not supposed to be perfect, right? I mean, I butchered the intro. So let's do this. I want to get into, and again, for anybody that's new, we go over all the markets. We talk about head-to-heads. We talk about finishing positions, outrights, and best bets, anything in between. And I think this week is so unique and so different. And I feel like as a community, and there's so many people listening, and I'm seeing them on Twitter Spaces right now, also on YouTube. I can't say thank you enough for everybody that's tuning in and listening. But there's so many ways now that people have built different edges. People have built different analytics and models where us as a community, we've actually grown a little bit more each year. We've got a lot smarter. This is the third year of the Gen 7 car, so naturally we're finding more data with that. And I think it's going to be one of those years where many are, able to find opportunities, markets that they can really hone in on. And if you're new to betting on NASCAR, I really recommend stick to one market. Just find a market that you can really find an edge, understand why you like something, why you don't like something, have those discussions internally as well, and also with the community that we've been able to build, which is great. So let's do this. We're going to go over the Daytona 500. We're going to talk about Cup Series. If the guys want to talk about the Xfinity Series, Truck Series as well, anything they want. Everything's on the table this week. This is opening week. Have it at your will, all right? Phil, I'm going to let you start us off first. You've been doing your podcast, I think, what is this, the 6th season, 9th season? What is this? What is the year? You said it on your show.
Yeah, starting up the 6th. This is the 6th season that we've had episodes. So we started halfway through one of the seasons, but time is flying by. That's for sure.
Time is flying by. Do you have any qualifying bets that you're currently on and watching as we do the show?
So I got it in last minute. I just took Bowman to win the poll.
Okay.
I mean, how could you not?
Went chalk.
I just threw it in quickly. Went chalk, but he's the automatic bet, I think, at this point. 6 straight top 2s. So got to go for him.
Ryan, how about you? Do you got any qualifying bets that you're currently on? Let's try this again.
No, I in New York here. Yeah, I think I figured out what happened last time. But no, and I know when the race does, though, because Greg is in Virginia. He got some really nice lines on the Hendrick cars. I know Byron and Elliott specifically. But in New York, it's slim pickings for me. I had some in Rivers, but nothing that I wanted to take. So no, I stayed away.
So here's Mark, I'm going to get to you in just one second, but you and I are currently in the same state right now. And I was driving to Tampa. I had a lot of meetings today, working for Front Stretch, doing a lot of different things. I drove past a Hard Rock casino and I almost pulled in. My wife for Valentine's opened a card on the plane. She gave me $50. She goes, Derek, you spend money on us and you do so much for us. I want to do something for you, whatever you want it for. I was looking at that $50 in my wallet and I was like, well, this could turn into maybe 250, 300, whatever we want to put it on. I think a Ford's going to win the poll. Needless to say, I kept going towards the meeting. I was a responsible adult, kept going. So I didn't get to do anything. But now you, Mark, for the first time, Florida is legalized in sports betting. Finally. Hard Rock Bet. You're going to be in the Hard Rock Bet infield all week long. I can't wait to get up there. Are you on any poll bets? You have to be. This is like Christmas for you.
It is Christmas. However, Hard Rock Bet doesn't have any qualifying odds. So
they do on their app. So I just went off that. Yeah, you have to go. Hey, let me educate you.
Where am I missing
Floridian?
here?
Let me educate you real quick. As
I got
the
4 minutes.
Come south. So go all the way to the right in the app. You'll see extra features or exclusives or something like that. I'll let you do that. I mean, I'm coming down to your state now. I'm telling you how to do this. So we'll get back to you then about your bets. Phil, I want to start with you. We're 11 minutes in, so I want to start with you regarding head-to-heads. Are head-to-heads a market that you bet when it comes to the super speedway? I know everybody's excited, right? We think everybody's going to win. We think we have the ticket. I mean, all week long it was Eric Jones. I've been on Eric Jones for like 3-4 weeks. Now everybody's on Eric Jones. Now I see it shift in another direction. Head-to-heads, is that something that you partake in and you're really kind of keen in on going into this week?
I do.
I like it.
Let me
I'm listening.
Let me say this just so everyone else on the show doesn't have to keep saying it, but like,
okay,
we're smart about this, right? Like, we're not gonna go crazy. We kind of alluded to it already. This is supposed to be a fun week.
Yes.
Same with next week a little bit. I'm not going all in like normally. So when we're talking about head-to-heads, the value, of course, isn't what you would want it to be in head-to-head markets, but like, if you want to have a little fun, that's what we have. So for super speedways, I do take head-to-head matchups. I find that fun because at that point, I'm just cheering for the guy to wreck that I'm playing against from the green flag. Okay. And so then I'm Gucci. So I like to take an approach with super speedways where I look for the guys who suck, the guys who cannot finish the race, because while it's good, and we're going to talk about guys who have had success is really difficult to have at a consistent level. But what seems to be easier is finding trouble. So you find those guys, and there are a few of them out there. And so the one that I'll call out is my favorite one of the week, I think, because I am like sneaky on Corey LaJoie a few different ways this week. And he's in a head-to-head matchup against arguably the worst super speedway racer in the field, Todd Gilliland.
Yep.
And he's getting it's minus 120. So that to me is crazy. He got LaJoie. He is 8 for 10, finishing in the top 20 at Daytona in the last 10 races there. So when you're looking at top 20s, obviously the bar is a little bit lower. How are you going to monetize that? It's head-to-head matchups. Like, that's how I see things. Like, if people are finishing in the top 20, they can finish the race. Okay, that's a good thing. Todd Gilliland cannot. I don't think he has. I'm looking at my notes here. He's okay at Talladega. So that's where we need to separate the two. He's been pretty decent at Talladega, but he's 0 for 4, finishing in the top 20 in his 4 starts at Daytona, 28.8 average finish. So, I mean, it's just really not great for Todd Gilliland, and I'm trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I remember you saying on your pod, like, you really have to, like you mentioned in there, you have to look at the difference between Talladega, Daytona. They race differently, same package, obviously, but they race so different. His statistics there are very different. So you like a matchup there. Where's that available by chance?
That's on Caesars, just like the one Brian just posted, which I'm also on, Justin Haley over Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton has been someone that I have picked on relentlessly. And Justin Haley, I'm on. I'm a little less confident because of the switch for Haley, but I like that call out by Brian.
Okay, so you're on a few of those there. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first. From a head-to-head standpoint, what's Win the Race telling us we should be looking at, and what do you like personally as well?
Pretty much the same type things here. Like, on a super speedway drafting track like this, anytime you can find anything better than a 50% chance, I don't really mind it. A lot of the matchups aren't that far off from one another.
Sure.
So, like, I don't know if it's still available. Early in the week, we took Truex over Kyle Busch at plus 110, McDowell over Stenhouse at plus 105. I think McDowell over Stenhouse is still available. We updated our Sim Center 7:48 p.m. It was still available. So, like, McDowell there, we would have it minus 119. You could still get him at plus 100. So anything kind of like plus even money or better, I don't mind it as long as they're comparable. And you look at McDowell and Stenhouse, to me, they're very comparable. Either of them obviously can wreck out at any time, but if you look at all of the Daytona and Talladega in 22 and 23, Stenhouse is running in the top 10 about 31% of the time. Michael McDowell about 24% of the time. So I don't know. That's close enough for me where I can take plus money on one guy and just hope that he survives. So I would never take minus 120 head-to-heads or anything like that, or at us in the drafting race.
I'll be honest. I would say from the first year of doing the show to now, I've been staying away from head-to-heads. Just not a market I dip into. I've looked at some like stage one head-to-heads. I found those to be profitable, especially if you can get something against Denny Hamlin and you can be at plus money. Denny has notoriously said, and he's obviously a phenomenal racer. He's won the Daytona 500 3 times. I'm just using an example where I found an opportunity sometimes against him where he's known to, okay, when stuff starts to get a little haywire, I like to back out. He wants to make it to the end. He's a perfect guy to kind of maybe look at, do I have a really good opportunity to bet against in a stage one type bet? But I've not really done a whole lot of full head-to-head bets, so that's why I was kind of curious what your guys' takes are. Now, Mark, I'm going to ask you, did you get any qualifying bets in? Did you find it like I said you would? And you own anything from a head-to-head standpoint?
Derek, you're a big, fat, hairy liar because I just scounged that whole app and I could not find a single qualifying bet. The odds are off the board now because qualifying started, but
my phone just moved and it said qualifying, so I was hoping that it would stay.
Liar. Okay, well, anyway, no, historically have not been a matchup guy on super speedways. I feel like it's pretty well known. And like Phil said, we're looking to have some fun. So I got to start by saying last year, Daytona, you get the juices flowing. You're ready to rock, baby. I mean, it's coming. We're throwing tickets. We're flying around. All right. I did all the research in the world. I had all the months of the off season to crunch the numbers. I spent hours trying to find the best value, find the best driver, find the best odds. Yeah. There's the ticket. We're gonna talk about. Yep, there it is, folks. We're gonna talk about that on Laying Coin tonight. We're gonna break it down. Anyway, I did all of that to go 0-41 from Thursday night in the duels to Sunday afternoon in the Daytona 500. I refuse to do it. I will not do it again. I am not going to put a lick of effort into this. I am going to have fun. I'm going to bet on guys that I like, that have cool paint schemes, paint wraps, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I like betting big numbers. So that's what we're doing tonight. Okay. And I did. So Zach with Highline Betting, he's got a little do your own custom model deal. So what I did is I took out my Caesar Sportsbook app and I just started scrolling the matchup. There's a million of them. And I found the largest difference between two drivers in the metric. So I used let me see. I got some notes here. So I used the last 4 Daytona races, and he's got like 6 different stat metrics that I used. And I weighted them all equally, and then I weighted the last 4 Daytona races equally. Okay, you know who had the 2 biggest difference? That would be Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson. And I love Martin Truex Jr. this weekend for a multitude of reasons. But I hate Kyle Larson even worse. He's like 21st in the model. Martin Truex Jr. is like 6th or 5th, whatever 16 is. And the metrics that we're looking at are finish, driver rating, laps led, percentage of laps inside the 15, top 15. What's the other one? Fast laps, whatever. Anyway, So Martin Truex Jr., very good. Kyle Larson, very bad. So what do? We take Martin Truex Jr. minus 105 for a couple shekels. We're going to have a little fun. We're definitely going to have a massive matchup parlay, and it's all going to have to do with Zach's model. And that's the vibes we're getting this weekend. So if you came here for intellectual breakdown of betting on guys, don't listen to me. Listen to the other 3 people here.
I think it's almost more impressive to go 0-41 than it is 41-0. Like I genuinely think that's more impressive because it's honest. You know, there's so many touts out there like, oh, I went perfect for another week of NASCAR betting. You are like, I went 0-41, like legitimately. So kind of impressive. Welcome back. Anybody, this would probably be a good time to fade you. So, or do you hop on the train, wait for the train to get hot? Who knows? So, okay. So you got a couple things working there. I'm going to go back. Actually, Mark, I'm going to go back to you. I'm going to give you another run at this. Okay.
Sure.
Let's go with finishing position props. All right. You're kind of rattled off a few things there about head to heads. What about finishing position props? Is this a market that you kind of look at, or, hey, at a super speedway or speedway, whatever we're going to call it nowadays, you kind of just say, I'm not touching it? Is it any market or no market?
Yeah, no, it's a market for me. I'm a top 5 guy on a super speedway, except for the bigger number guy, especially the bigger number guys. Top 3, you might as well just take them to win. That's literally like throwing the Mike Tyson blindfold dart gif. So you guys mentioned this guy's name earlier, but it's Eric Jones, and everybody and their mother is on Eric Jones, which is fine to me at a super speedway. When you get to the more predictable tracks where you can start using numbers and using this and that, and I kind of get a little turned off, However, super speedways, it just doesn't matter. It literally does not matter throwing blind darts. But I used the same kind of thing for Eric Jones here, and the model, and he is 5th in this said model. So that makes Martin Truex 6th and Eric Jones 5th. So I played around with a little bit, trying to find, basically a guy in that 25-1 range to like the 50-1 range, because typically the odds are scaled to where the top 5, you can get a decent little number. And so I got Eric Jones top 5 at plus 550. I believe that's on Bet Rivers. I don't know if there's a better number out there. I clicked go as soon as I saw it. Well, as soon as Eric Jones popped up on the model, of course. But my point being, trying to find the guys in that general area, is the top 4 were Elliott, Blaney, Logano, and Truex. So I don't want to bet any of those guys top 5, maybe Truex, but I already have an outright ticket on him. So let's just keep going down the board. Eric Jones 5th. Boom. Once again, not a big lover of the top 3 market, nor the top 10 market. The top 10 market was totally ruined a couple years ago when our guys hitting $1 million parlays. So good luck ever finding a fun top 10 number again. But if I had to choose a finishing prop market, absolutely top 5. So we're going EJ 43, top 5, plus 550.
Okay, so going a little Eric, that Jones boy, right? We're doing a little bit there. Ryan, how about you? I'm going to turn over to you next. What about the finishing position market? Something you bet on at this type of racetrack, or do you stay away from it completely?
It's something I might have bet on before, but like Mark just said, the numbers just suck. So position props is not something I'm interested in right now. It would have been had there been anything of value out there. In our simulations, the only thing that we see as semi value right now are a couple of top 3s and 5s out there, but barely anything.
Okay.
Maybe a Gilliland top 5. He's like 8-1 on DraftKings right now.
Yeah.
But even that, like, we barely show that as value. We have fair at plus 780. So I don't know. I'm going to stay away.
Okay, so you're going to stay with that. That's perfect, because this isn't a conversation where we have to force anybody to make a pick or make a side. We have a lot of people that do follow kind of what we're saying here. So to be sitting on the sidelines like I am with something like this, and I know there's some that like maybe the top 5 market, maybe like top 10. I personally sit out. I'd rather invest my money, if I'm going to do it at all, in an outright price. So Phil, how about you? I'm going to kick it over to you, let you close out this topic. Finishing position props. You like them? You hate them? Indifferent?
Yeah, I mean, I play them. I'm not.
You're muted, but it's okay. First show.
Sorry, I unmuted
Knocked on rust off.
Didn't unmute on the other one.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't hate them. I have fun with the top 10s, because then you can kind of go down the line and find some drivers that are further down. Now, to Ryan's point, like, I'm not in tune with like what the system would call value at that point. But I'm looking at, like, can this guy do it? And at that point, if he can do it, he's going to win me a little bit of money. I think Michael McDowell is still a name that we need to be aware of at Daytona. And I got him at plus 240 for a top 10 on Bovada. I don't know what he is at this moment, but, looking at it, 25 races at Daytona, he's finished top 10 8 times. Okay. Now, the wonky stat that I found about McDowell is first 4 times he raced there, he finished outside the top 10. Since then, he has never finished outside the top 10 4 times in a row. Well, he's done it 3 times. So that pattern, and the last time he did it 3 times, he won the damn race. So I feel like Daytona speaks to McDowell. I mean, he even had a good race there when they did the road course there. He performs well there. And I like to look at the last 10 at Daytona, but I also like to zero in on the last 5 at the 500 because who steps up in that race? So if you look at the last 10, 3 for 10. Okay. All 3 came in the 500s. So he steps up in this race. Like, he doesn't shy away from the shine. And the other thing is 7 of his last 10 Daytona races, he was in the top 15. So he puts you there, no matter whether it's the summer or the 500. And he's got 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 15s in the last 5 Daytona 500s. And his average finish in that time span, those 5 races, he's the best in NASCAR. It's a 11.0 average finish. So McDowell, I think at plus 240, if you're looking for somebody like way down the list, he's someone that I could get behind here. And
okay, so you have. So you're saying don't sleep on him, a guy that's had success here. So don't sleep on him in that regard. As we're doing the show, qualifying's happening for the Daytona 500. Obviously, this sets the lineup for the duels. For anybody that doesn't know, the top 2 starting positions here tonight that are determined will be set for the front row of the Daytona 500 on Sunday night. Who knows? Mark, I think you and I are in for a long one. But there's a guy on track right now, Carson Hocevar. Real quick, want to get somebody's take. Mark, I'm going to just choose you. Hocevar. What are we expecting from Hocevar this year? I know Worm's going to say he's the fastest car he's ever seen, but I'm asking you.
I can't tell if Chris is being a sarcastic asshole right now, or if he's being serious. But no, my Rookie of the Year cards are all in on Josh Berry. I thought that was an obvious one. I think Spire, with the amount of money they're spending, like, they're going to be better. However, it's Corey LaJoie who's going to be better. I do not think the 71 and the 77 are going to be worth a damn this year. I think it's going to be Ty Dillon round 2. You got a rookie. We've seen how rookies in the Cup Series have done over the last 6, 7, 8 years. It has not been pretty. I do not imagine Carson Hocevar being worth a damn.
That's okay. Here's what's funny. I was on a whole different screen. I didn't even know Worm was chatting on the YouTube side of things, saying Hocevar's on track. Hocevar's the man, Rookie of the Year, got a tattoo. If Hocevar wins the Rookie of the Year, Chris should get a 77 tattoo somewhere on his body. So maybe that's what we set out there for him with that. Ryan and Phil, give me an up and down here. Carson Hocevar will finish 24.5 in the points. Higher, lower, where are we at? 24.5. Higher. Above.
I don't think that means he's out of the Rookie of the Year race, but
sure. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah,
putting you on the spot. This is good.
Man, I say lower.
Okay, so you lower. Okay, so this will be interesting to see kind of what happens.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Phil.
Is Gregson running for Rookie of the Year? Like,
no,
because his season got cut short?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay. No, it's just Zane Smith. I'm not going to get this off the top of my head. Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar. Don't tell me. I'll figure it out. There's like 2 other guys. Josh Hunter Nemechek? Question mark? No, probably not.
John Hunter ran back in the day.
I know, he's like Robbie Gordon when Robbie Gordon just kept showing back up from the 90s to 2000s. Who's the other guys? There's like 4
Josh
of them.
Berry.
I think there might just be the 3 of them.
All right. Well,
that'll be a fun race.
Okay, it'll be a fun race for sure. Okay, so let's talk about outrights. Who's going to go to victory? Fueled by Victory Fuel. For anybody out there listening, go to drinkvictory.com. Use the promo code FRONTSTRETCH. That's FRONTSTRECH. I think I nailed that without looking and remembering off the top of my head. So their product, awesome. Who's going to victory? Ryan, I start with you.
Muted. We're doing outrights?
Let's do outrights.
All right. So this is where, so I didn't do any position props. Outrights is where I have my fun for the weekend. So
let's hear it.
My theory is this, is like, if everyone has an equal shot to win the race, I don't believe that they do, but if people say that, then everyone should be about 39-1. And so let's just take away 20% of the field. Everyone should be 31-1. So when I build this card for fun, I'm trying to keep that number in mind. So as of right now, I have 10 drivers bet to win 25% of the field at an average of 43 to 1. I've only invested, let's see here, 0.238 units with an average return of 7.316. So I don't know. Like, that's how I have fun. And I have Elliott, Truex, Stenhouse, Cindric, Bowman, Jones, Priest, Dinger, LaJoy, and Haley. And that's how I'm going to have fun. So I do love outrights. I'm not invested for a lot of units at all, and I can get a nice return. And I have 25% of the field. So to me, when I'm drinking beer, that's going to make it a little more fun.
Okay, so that's how you get down. That's how you party. That's how you have fun. You broke down the statistics, the metrics, the algorithm, all that stuff to get to those numbers. I like it.
I just think if you take out even just 20% of the field, so say 32 guys have a realistic shot of winning, maybe that's even high, but that would be 31 to 1, and I have an average of over 40 between my bets. So that's just how I'm just going to sprinkle and let it land where it does. It'd be fun.
Now, another guy that I know uses a bunch of algorithms, does not pick a name out of the hat, does not put a number in his chest. Mark, how about you when it comes to outrights? Who's going to victory this weekend?
I don't know who you were describing there, but do not ever put my name in that category ever again.
With algorithms?
Listen,
which
both.
Both.
I don't know. But listen, you guys will get you get my intellectual spiel when we get past Atlanta. But for now, capital FUN, okay? And listen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look.
You're not saying
look, anything. Sorry, look. That's your winner. Kyle Busch. Kyle fucking Busch is your winner. 18 to 1. Bet Rivers. Go bet it. Listen up and listen good, you knuckleheads. Okay. This man went nuts last year at Daytona. Okay. Duels. Had him betting the duels. Got turned. Had him betting the 500. Penalty on pit road. Gets turned. Okay. Late in the race.
Yeah.
Made a dumbass move with Austin Dillon on one of the final restarts. Did not work out. Nope. Anyway, speaking of said models and, math stats. So I used the cumulative model of all the super speedways and he was 6th. And I'm like, okay, that gives me something to talk about because I got to have like some sort of reasoning behind why I bet him. But then if you just look at the last 4 Daytona races, that dog, Kyle Busch, jumps straight to the top of the board. Numero uno in Highline Betting's model when you use the last 4 Daytona races. And the other reason was I left it up to the people, okay? So I'm going to start this new tradition. We're going to pick one driver. We're going to shave the number. This year just so happened to be in my back because I had professionally done, and my barber was like, you know what? I need the plain canvas. Can
we see it? Can we see it?
You're going to have to tune into Land Coin for that. Okay. Sorry, boys.
But that's your show. I get it.
Tomorrow afternoon, it'll be live. You'll see the masterpiece. Okay. It's a wonderful canvas. Let me tell you. Anyway, so I was pulling for Gragson. Originally, I'm like, you know what? I'm going for Gragson. Gragson's be my outright. He's my dog. He's back. He's got a sick paint scheme, unlike the Clash. And the people did not want me to have fun. The people decided on Kyle Busch. So that's what we're doing. We expedited the 47 new merch hat to the house. It literally came in about 3 hours ago. It is on my head. There's been some crazy numbers out there on Kyle Busch. I would not touch him at 12 to 1. I would probably sniff him at 14. Anything above 14. I know there's a 16 still out there. I got him at 18 on Bet Rivers. And I'm all over Kyle Busch. Now, he is entering the 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration point in his career. He's obviously not as good as Dale Sr. was, so don't take that literally here. But he has been trying at this, has had so many good runs in the 500 that we're nearing that point where he may not ever get a chance again. So he looked very good last year in a Chevy. RCR teammates, Austin Dillon was right up his ass the whole time, looking good. I expect it to happen again. He's a veteran. He's done it 1,000 times. And just do yourself a favor. And instead of paying 2 mortgages like I did last year at Daytona, just pay for next month's mortgage with Kyle Busch responsibly.
Responsibly, of course. Yeah, I've never Go ahead.
Real quick. For the numbers dorks, I sent this to Mark earlier. And it's funny because our Sims have it fair at 5%.
Mark is the numbers dork?
No. This is for any numbers dork who wants to hear.
Okay.
It's a little bit of reasoning behind it. So our Sims have it fair at 5%. And if Kyle Busch won this year, he'd be 1 for 19, which is 5%. So this is the time to get it. So yeah, we'll see what he comes back at. I just looked on Rivers when you were talking, and they took down the odds during qualifying. So we'll see what he comes back at. But I love Kyle Busch. I would hate to not be on this when it happens. So that might just be a fun bet, just out of the love for Kyle fucking Busch. So
Phil, I'm going to get to you in a second. I swear. Mark, you've said the word model maybe 100 more times than you ever have on any year of any show. Speaking of model, you had a marketing team. I think you're selling some merch, right?
Oh yeah, those kind of models. You know what? We went to Pete's Bar, the oldest bar in Jacksonville. We got back to the house. I'm like, hey, I just got some T-shirts in. You guys want one? And they're like, sure. I'm like, all right, here you go. They proceeded to put them on. They took some pictures. I'm like, well, you know what?
Where can the people get the people get what you're selling?
Anyway, shoot me a DM. I only got a few left. Here, we'll do the little tease here. How about that?
He's got 4 left. All right. Well,
you can't see shit. Anyway, yeah, shoot me a DM. You want a T-shirt? We're gonna order some more. We're gonna get some more hats. We got a bunch of koozies.
Black.
We got models. We got T-shirts. We'll get black this time just for Derek.
I appreciate that. Phil, finally gonna get to you. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. I think it's who's gonna go to Victory Lane this weekend. So how about you? What are some insights? What are anything you have that these two have not shared already? And I have a question then for you as a follow-up, regardless of the driver you choose.
Sure.
The drivers.
Yeah, I mean, the way I have fun is very similar to the way Ryan described it. I mean, on my show, I called it the shotgun unit, kind of spray and pray from a value that makes sense, where you can at least come back with at least 2 units. So we described that on the show. We picked 10 drivers. And I'm in a similar situation. Like I don't like taking outrights, especially towards the top. So, you know, I'm looking for guys who are 20-1 and further. Actually, Chris just pulled up Kyle 20-1. I would hit that. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of the guys that I included. You know, I think the Toyotas are going to be sneaky. They got some extra cars out there. You know, Bubba Wallace had it 20-1. He looks like he's shorter than that now, or at least before qualifying started. The guy, and we talked about Jones. We beat him into the ground, so I won't bring him up. I got him at 35-1 on 365. But the guy I'll call out now, like I said, I'm not huge on outrights, but 25-1 is what I got. Ross Chastain, 3 for 10 at Daytona, finishing in the top 10. It's not fantastic, but what I'm looking for here is someone just to kind of be in the mix towards the end. His average finish is a little skewed because he had a dead last finish 40th a couple years back. But, you know, he's obviously had some victories, or had a victory at Talladega Super Speedway. And surprisingly, like Trackhouse, looking at Daniel Suarez last year, looking at the last 4 Super Speedway races all last year, Suarez was kind of sneaky, like there. I think he was 4 for 4, top 20, which was kind of rare in the field. So 25-1 for a guy who has won on a super speedway, can show some speed. Part of the Chevy camp, big camp, you know, he can kind of sneak in there towards the end. I'll ride with that.
Okay, so you ride with that a little bit. I like it. One of my questions to you, Phil, was going to be, I felt like we've seen so much action come in on Eric Jones, obvious reasons. 35-1, 30-1. Now he's down to like 18-1, 20-1. I think I saw 28-1 still out there somewhere. And now it feels like the conversation is flipping over to Kyle Busch, where, you know, his number's been getting hammered, although 20-1 is very appealing. Who's that next driver that people are just going to start jumping on, talking about, that might have a little value right now? What do you think what driver do you think moves the number a little bit? And it's all public conversation. Like, it's people are just, you wake up one night or one morning and it's Eric Jones, and the next morning it's Kyle Busch, and it's like, okay, everybody's.
Yeah. So I could see after tonight, I could see everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people who just kind of wake up and look at the app. I could see Bowman. I mean, he was 30-1. You're going to see him possibly on the front row, maybe on the pole. People are going to be like, oh, he's on the pole. He's fast. Okay, boom. And you could see that kind of go down a little bit. 30-1 for a Hendrick Motorsports driver. you know, he was like the furthest down from anyone from like a varsity level team. So if he goes and kind of shows speed again, I think he could be a little shorter on race day.
Any of you three have lines that are currently open outrights at all? That I know qualifying is happening. Sometimes the books close that. If you guys have any books that are open, I'd be curious what maybe Bowman's price is currently, if anything is open. Phil, I'm going to stay with you, and then we're going to just kind of slide over the rotation. So from a best bet perspective, I know that can sometimes get a little difficult when we look at a place like this, but when we look at places in a few weeks and when we go to Vegas, Phoenix, etc., there's a little bit more we can talk about. Is there a best bet, regardless of series? Maybe it's Xfinity, Truck Series, Cup Series. Is there anything that just jumped out to you that you're like, I gotta hammer this home?
Ah, man, that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm asking tough questions.
Yeah, it's the super speedway race. So no, I mean, there's nothing that I'm like, I gotta throw the house at it, because that's the smart way to play it. If we're looking for, something fun, something.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Where am I going? Tell me where I'm going.
You're gonna go with it wasn't hit and quit it, but it was throw out it's a parlay of some. So you described it on your pod.
Parlay. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're referring
to.
What
was at the end? You did something at the end of your
pod.
Shotgun,
like, the shotgun unit. Yeah, that's what we just described. So I've been diving into the props, if I'm honest, like props that Caesars is offering, because I think that's like a fun way to have fun. I'm trying to open this up here because I was going back and looking historic stuff here. So they've got lead changes over under. They've got over under lead lap finishers. They've got drivers to lead a lap, most laps led over under, people to not complete 100 laps. Like, this shit's fun to me. I like diving into this. And if we don't bet it, they're not going to bring it back out. So I think that this is a fun thing to do. So something I bring up on the show that has a little bit more value than the over unders, because the over unders, the books are doing the job. I went back 6 races, and everything that I would take is the favorite as far as the head-to-head, or excuse me, the over-under. But the one thing that you can get a little value on, they have margin of victory. And if you look at it, it's, let's see, 0 to like 0.115.
Yeah.
And most races that actually end are within that gap. And that's like plus 140 or something like that. But if you scroll all the way down and hit more, then you see an option that says other, and other is the race ending under caution. And looking back, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's boring. But that's referring to like a wreck on the last spot and the yellow flag comes out and you're thinking, well, how often does that happen? Well, I have an answer to you. 3 of the last 4 Daytona races ended under caution, and 3 of the last 4 Daytona 500s ended under caution. So that's plus 145. So I, for value's sake, history says that could be a way to have some fun. In that case, our boy Stay Green right there, you're not cheering for it to stay green at that point. Yeah. You're cheering for yellows. Come on, yellow. But
come on, yellow.
I wanted to
come on, yellow.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I think those props are fun to kind of look at the history behind it and see if you can find any value there. So yeah, that's what I'll say. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, well, I like hearing that. I found an interesting stat today, or saw it on Twitter. I forget where in the media center they talked about it, but I believe it was the last 7 winners of the Daytona 500 led only 1 lap. Is that crazy? Is that just like insane? Can you imagine, like, you're rooting for a guy? Okay, like when we were all doing the live show up in Lancaster, and I had Austin Dillon, who was running as slow as an Amish buggy and avoids a 36 car pileup. So like those kind of things are wild. Ryan, how about you? I'm going to go to you next. Anything that you really like that you're like, hey, this is available right now in certain markets, kind of something that you want to keen in on there?
The only thing that I took, and I don't know if it's value yet or not, but my thought process was, what if the what if the Fords did lose a little something drafting with the new body? And so I saw Chase Elliott at 14-1, which we have as fair. And I think, if they did lose a little, the Fords, they should probably all be down around that number as well, and not the favorites at 9 and 10-1 or wherever they are. And so I just thought that could be value if the Fords did lose a little something. Then Chase should probably be down near 10-1 with all the favorites. So that was something that I did take. I know we didn't really touch on it with the Toyota's new bodies and the Ford new bodies and how that might react. I think we'll learn a lot tomorrow night in the duels, see how they really can push each other and work together. But I think that's where you could find some value if we do find out the Fords don't dominate like they did last year. I have a fun stat too, like you said, like the winners.
I like fun stats.
Yeah, so this is of laps completed at Daytona and Talladega in 22 and 23. A little trivia question. Who is the only driver to have ran over 50% of his laps completed inside the top 10? There's only one.
In 22 and 23?
Yep, at Talladega and Daytona.
Byron? Yeah, I didn't think so. Go ahead, Phil.
I'm going to say Chris Buescher.
Damn. Go ahead, Mark.
Final guess.
Save us.
I'm thinking.
You brought him. You brought him up earlier.
You brought everybody up, including models.
Watch it. It's not
Kyle
Kyle Larson. Oh my God! There's no way, dude. There's no way.
He will win. Larson is going to win a speedway race this year. No,
he won't finish. He might run half his laps up there, but he ain't gonna finish.
That's what reminded me. When Derek said the thing about the drivers winning it, how many laps they've actually led, that's what reminded me of that stat. I was like, oh shit, I got to say that right now.
I like that you did say that. It's interesting looking at the qualifying. They're still in round one, but Austin Dillon right now is the leader. Riley Herbst in second, Ryan Preece third, Gregson is fourth. So interesting to see what that is going to shake out at come the end of the show. So I think we got it all out there for the YouTube audience. I do want to jump over to Twitter here in just a second to hear if anybody has anything to say there. We're going to just kind of open it up for any questions on that side of things. But anything else I'm missing here, boys? Phil, I know you and I are going to talk trucks here not too long, but anything else that we didn't get to touch on? Mark, I know you go down to Daytona back and forth over the next few days. Maybe bring a paddle, a life jacket. We might need it. Any final thoughts on the YouTube side? Mark, I'll start with you.
No, I do have some fun props, some finishing props. I took for just a couple shekels. I don't have any explanation, but a couple shekels. If I lose them, I'm wiping my butt next week with it. I'm taking Reddick, top Yoda, 8.5-1. Chastain, top Chevy, 9-1 because Busch Light. I'm going to be drinking a lot of it this weekend. So I'm like, you know what? I got to have something on Chastain.
Sure.
And then Harrison Burton, I call this the hashtag revenge bet because I'm still not over it. Top Ford, 22-1. So there you have it.
Okay. How about you, Ryan? Anything else caught your eye we didn't talk about, or any parting shots at all?
I mean, if you're going to sprinkle just a little amount, you can go to Caesars and look at the exactas. I liked some of those team exactas. Like you get Elliott Byron 1-2 for 100-1, Hamlin Bell 125-1, Hamlin Truex 150-1. So you could sprinkle on a little bit of those and hope some teammates are there at the end pushing each other. Again, I did that basically because I thought those might be value now if the Fords did lose a little something. So maybe after the duels, those exactas are cut in half or just dwindled down to nothing. So I put very, very little on those. Those are just some, a fun bet that could pay quite a bit for not putting anything on it.
I'm waiting for you to pull back your mask of your face, and Mark in Mississippi is under there somewhere with those exactas. That is his style for sure. How about you, Phil? Anything else, parting shots, or anything we didn't get to talk about on the YouTube side of things?
Well, I mean, since we're throwing some stuff out there, I'll bring a guy up. I mean, I feel like AJ Allmendinger is being like a little disrespected. He was like 60-1. And he's driving the same damn car he finished sixth in last year, right? I mean, just because he's not full time, it's the super speedway. the super speedways and the road courses, what the whole company was based off of, his ability to do those things.
So
and
true.
we're just going to pretend like AJ can't, compete at Daytona. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. 60-1 is what he was on like last week when I was betting in New Jersey. So that's all I got to say about, that. But last thing to bring up on YouTube, like, what's more likely? Because it's weather. We haven't talked about the weather. The weather doesn't look good. And you guys down in Florida, it. You've been going to the race. What's more likely, a Monday race or Sunday night? What's more possible?
I would say
think.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's piss and rain Sunday. Listen, all right, this is all you need to know about. I have a buddy that was supposed to go fishing in the Bahamas, and it's about a couple hour boat ride if you got a nice souped up one. Okay. They canceled the fishing trip because the weather's going to be so bad. So there's a gigantic weather system coming in. Yes, in the summertime, it's like, Florida, rain, it's 100% chance, then it's out, then it's here, then it's not. Okay, I actually am a little worried about this one. This is a big weather system. However, I think NASCAR is done with like the 11:30 p.m. start times after that one, like 7-8 years ago. So if I was a gambling man, which I don't know, I'm going to say Monday, which I also told our company I will not be there Monday. Don't count on me. It's someone else's responsibility. So I am planning a Monday 500. I'm sorry I said it. Yeah,
you tell Mom. You tell her how it is. Say, Mom, I'm not coming
Mom.
in. I ain't working. I ain't hanging up those shirts. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I got a couple. What was it, Phil? I think it was you that said maybe, and I heard a couple other people say maybe there's a Sunday finish. Joey Logano. He was in the media center being interviewed by Front Stretch, frontstretch.com. Check them out. They were talking about rain, and he was like, I'll look at it more so on Thursday, but he's kind of anticipating, obviously, a delay. If there's a window in that night race, I mean, a Sunday night following the Super Bowl last week, a Sunday night under the lights, biggest race of the year would be fantastic. Now, let's move the winner to the victory lane. Let's hear what they have to say from there. Not some front stretch where he just did a burnout, then it goes to victory lane. I don't like any of that. Go back to when it was the old days, in my opinion. So awesome. I think we covered it all here. I know we have a lot of people on Twitter Spaces, so I kind of want to get to them to see if they have any questions. But if you're listening, obviously on YouTube, again, like, subscribe to In Between Media. It helps them out. Look at our partners on the screen. You got Raceface Digital. I've been working with them a great deal. They do such great work. So make sure you're looking at racefacedigital.com. Victory Fuel, use promo code FrontStretch for them. And then Atlas Hair, ATLASHAIR.com. Use NASCAR 20% off for people like you guys. You have a whole head of hair. It's a great product. And they're coming out with a new product. Can't say what it is yet, but they're coming out with a new one. So check us out. NASCAR Betting Preview Show at Derek Yoder _ on Twitter. Download, listen to the podcast. We're going to be all year long. You're going to get a lot of this. It's going to be good. Ryan's going to start drinking with some wine at some point. Mark's going to be drinking vodka out of watermelon again at some point. And Phil, we're going to probably have you eating, 20 pieces of bread from Texas Roadhouse. Or something like that.
Shout out SC.
So,
help me
and
out.
I'm going to throw myself in the fire this year. I want to get in the mix of it as well. You guys have had your punishments. I got to put my neck on the line a little bit there. So thanks again for everybody that supported us on the YouTube side. If you're listening on Twitter Spaces, hang with us for just a minute. We're going to close out of here at the top of the hour. So you got 5 minutes, but I want to hear what you guys have to say because there's just so much going on throughout the rest of the